So F.A.C.E.C.O.V.I.D is an acronym, and the first piece is focus on what you can control. So what we do know, there's lots going on that we can't control. We can't control lockdown. We can't control whether people leave their houses or not and all those sort of things. But there are, and I think sometimes that can blind us in thinking that we have control over nothing. There's nothing that's in our control. And so I think taking the time and opportunity to think about, actually, what is in my control? What can I do? You know, something as simple as, well, I can choose to go for a walk every day, or I can choose to go to bed and get enough sleep every night. So there's certain things that we can say, actually, though there's lots of things we can't control, there's lots of things that we actually can choose. The next acronym letter is A, which means acknowledging our thoughts and feelings. Like, stuff shows up, right? Like, you know, thoughts show up, feelings show up, our minds, there's a whole bunch of stuff that can be really, really challenging. And as much as we think we might be choosing to think about these things, more often than not, we're not. They're just things that show up. That's how our body works. It's how our minds work. Things show up based on what's happening around us. So the acknowledgement of that, rather than saying, oh, I don't want to think about that, I just want that to sort of disappear from my mind. As much as you try, it'll eventually pop up again. So we talk about the acknowledgement. Yeah, this is hard. This is tough. We're in a really difficult situation right now. There's lots of stuff coming back to, lots of stuff that's not in my control. What is in my control? And just the validation and acknowledgement that things can be difficult. And then there's C, which is about coming back into your body. And I guess this is the piece where mindful practice can come into play. And when we talk about noticing sort of the discomfort and uncomfortable feelings and thoughts that might show up, and how might we try and anchor ourselves back to where we are in this moment, right here, right now. You know, noticing 5 things around you, smelling things around you, touching things around you, even like digging your heels into the ground, just to acknowledge where you are, or sort of give yourself a wiggle in the chair, put your hands on the armrests, just something to try and anchor yourself into the moment right here, right now. Sometimes it's just as simple as connecting back with your 5 senses. So that's something really important that we sort of think about in terms of C, coming back into our body. And then E is engaging in things that matter, engaging in the things that really mean something to us. So that might be, I guess, coming back full circle into when we're thinking about the various things that are in our control, and then actioning those things. So being able to say, today I'm going to connect with someone important to me, or I'm going to do something that's about caring for myself or caring for somebody else. So engaging in those practices that are about caring for you and caring for those that matter most to you in the best way that you can, given the circumstances that we're in. So that's F.A.C.E. Then we think about COVID. So again, coming back to committed action. So committed action being doing stuff that matters. So staying connected and continuing to acknowledge these are things that are important to me, coming to work and helping people that need me. O being open up to the things that matter to us, to be able to be self-compassionate and self-caring, given that, you know, this is a really difficult time. You know, we're really good at being compassionate to other people, not so much being compassionate to ourselves. So the importance of acknowledging that is super important. V being values. So again, connecting to the things that matter most. And when we talk about that, it might be about being kind or caring or supportive or understanding, some of those values that sort of encompass who we want to be. I being identifying resources. There are tons of resources out there, whether it's podcasts, whether it's free mindfulness apps, whether it's recordings. There's a whole bunch of stuff that are accessible to people, and also things like, you know, free activities, gym, sort of exercise opportunities, a whole bunch of things. And D is as simple as distance and disinfect, which I guess sort of sits under the premise of our current climate and what's happening. So that's a really nice way of thinking about acceptance and commitment therapy in the context of COVID.